Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Okay. Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be hanging out with you once again on Tuesday night. As you know, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So it's critical for you to continue to develop your leadership skills so you can more effectively drive your business forward. Also, there's so many things you need to know to be a successful entrepreneur that's impossible to know them all. That's why it's so important to continually learn and seek out resources that can provide you with accurate, timely, valuable knowledge about how to run your business more effectively. And that's why I created Small Business Pro University. And that's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you to see examples and to learn more about business and leadership so you can be more successful. As you know, each week we have a different topic and a special guest. And this week, I'm excited about our guest. We're going to be talking about AI for operational optimization. Our guest is Corey Wilson, and he's been doing some great things with AI, and I think we'll learn some valuable insights and practical applications of using AI to optimize your operations. So let me bring him on. Hey, Corey, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Andrew. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me tonight and share your experience and knowledge with our audience. So looking forward to that. Before we get started, can you share a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. All right. So for references, real quick, I'll tell you a little bit about who I am today, a little bit about my background and what I do now and who I serve. So my name is Corey A. Wilson, and my wife and I, we are co-founders of Alexander Sky Group. It's a business advisory and coaching firm where we work with and educate entrepreneurs to build healthier and stronger businesses within our verticals, which are in operations, finances, and taxes. Now, my background, most people would assume that I've been an entrepreneur for some time, but I haven't. I spent 21 years working at Verizon before I retired in 2021. And so along the way during that journey, in 2009, I bought my first piece of real estate. In 2016, my wife, she quit her corporate job and jumped into entrepreneurship. and we invested in 2 brick and mortar businesses within 12 months of each other. It wasn't the smartest idea, but during that time, we acquired a coffee shop called Mocha Lounge and a laundromat called Lotus Laundry. And in 2017, while sitting at the coffee table, having conversation with my son, he told me about this digital product that I went down a rabbit hole and didn't understand what it really was at the time, but it was about Bitcoin. And so for that time, for the following 3 years, I juggled just supporting my wife, working in the business on the weekends, in the evenings, and just managing my investments while still working at Verizon. But in 2019, with our coffee shop, we lost that business. And it was a year before COVID hit. And I always say that it was kind of a gift and a curse because we all know what happened to the food industry once the pandemic hit. So that was a whole nother story that I can leave for another day. But at that time, we still had the laundromat. And COVID at the time had forced us to innovate how we operated. So we built an app for it. And that app took us from just the general local foot traffic to serving the surrounding counties, which really helped us generate a lot of revenue for the business. And subsequently, we sold that business in 2023. But shortly after, in that time, I retired from Verizon in 2021. Big thanks to my investing in cryptocurrency and knowing what that was about. And after that, I asked my wife a simple question. I said, now, what would you want to do if you didn't have to worry about bills anymore? And at first she was like, what kind of question is that? Everybody has to work. Why are you asking me that? And she came back to me and then followed up and said she just wanted to help people and support them in a meaningful way. So before I retired, I was doing a lot of researching, working with online mentors. And one of my online mentors, Ty Lopez, said that if you want to create a business, you should create a business from your unique experiences. So I'm thinking at the time, okay, what can I do in telecommunications? But I think my unique experience was becoming a business owner and working with my wife. So that's what we did. We became business consultants, and we became the people who we needed back when we had our brick and mortar businesses. So that was someone who actually experienced the journey and lived it. They kind of spoke to what we needed. So we became that. And in our first year in consulting, we worked pro bono for a few business owners alongside some paid consulting to kind of find out where we were as far as consultants, like where were our strong points, where were our weak points. And since then, we've worked with dozens of business owners through Rutgers Newark SBDC. Today, we are board advisors for Rutgers Newark Small Business Development Center, and we are mentors through Seton Hall's Impact New Jersey program. And since 2023, which is when we started Alexander Sky Group, the consultant advisory firm, we sharpened our focus. Today, we target our clients, our CEOs and decision makers that are generating anywhere from $1 million to $15 million in revenue, whose businesses, they look great on paper, but we found something that are constraining these businesses. And you try to approach the 2 major gaps that we see business owners having. Again, we were the same business owners, so these are some of the issues that we had. The first gap is that there is no operation bottlenecks within their business. They don't have documented processes. They don't have SOPs. And that makes it hard to streamline what's going on in the business and make it repeatable. The second thing is, even with most business owners, they have a CPA or bookkeeper on board. They're giving tens of thousands of tax dollars to the IRS, and they are completely unaware of how to strategically reinvest that money back into their team, back into their operations or their business growth. And so those are the businesses and owners that we serve at Alexander Sky Group. Me and my wife, we kind of gave ourselves a little nickname. We call ourselves the business physicians, because like doctors, we understand that the first thing we do when we speak to a business owner that's having problems is that we ask the questions. We find out what's keeping them up at night. The second thing we do is we run an assessment or have them take an assessment, which is like a diagnosis of the business to identify any blind spots or gaps that they are not aware of. And then finally, we prescribe a solution or a remedy for those problems or issues or gaps in the business, because those things need to be identified and highlighted so that the business owner can be aware of them first, and then that they can work on them. So with that being said, we tell business owners that what we do for most business owners is not an expense to the business. For most business owners, what we do, their business is like, it's the highest return decision that they'll make that year by investing in us that invest in their business. So that's a little bit about who I am. That's a bit of our journey, and that's where we are today in our business and who we work with.
Okay, excellent. So no, definitely, I think that a lot of business owners overlook operations, but there can be a lot of profitability in there that they're losing, or don't know they should be getting. So I work with a manufacturing company, and we doubled their profits on the same sales. So of course, selling more can help you be more profitable, but it doesn't necessarily make you more profitable. And so operations and optimizing them can make a really big difference in your profitability. So you're keeping more of what your sales are. So excellent. So we do the show through the Small Business Pro University, which is basically we focus on helping entrepreneurs and business owners to learn, profit, and grow. This is just part of what Small Business Pro University is. I'm going to play a short video so you can learn a little bit more about the rest of Small Business Pro University. And I'll be back here talking small business with Corey Wilson. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1 million and 8 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services. All right, good evening. I'm back with Corey Wilson talking small business. Our topic tonight, AI for operational optimization. Before we get started, definitely want to just recognize the audience. We always appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for your comments. We love your comments and questions. Hey, Jack, Mario, Precious, the Killer Pitchmaster, Anton, Darren, Don, Malik, Aria, and Kobe, as well as others. So please don't hesitate to add your comments, add your questions. We'll try and get to all the questions during the show. and give us a shout out. Let us know where you're at. So we usually have people from across the country and sometimes across the world. So let us know where you're joining us from. All right, so let's get started, Corey. Before we go too deep, I always like to really just define things to make sure we're on the same page and everybody's sort of following what you're talking about. So, we're talking about operational optimization. So what does that mean to you?
So operational optimization, what it means to me, it means just basically streamlining operations of business owners or businesses. Most business owners, again, when they start their business, they're wearing all the hats. We all know that. And operations is something that they can take their eye off. And with AI, which is what we'll be talking about today a little bit, is that it helps us identify the gaps that we're missing within our business. What I do is sometimes I just take the information from business owners, understand what their processes are, and then the goal is to identify what the industry standards are and find out, again, where they're missing steps. And then the following pieces help them with implementation and creating documents that are repeatable, and then handing them to a responsible manager or supervisor to make sure that they oversee the processes and make sure that they are going as scheduled. So I think that's kind of what I do as far as an operational CEO or operational advisor. That's a little bit of what I do and how I do it.
All right. Excellent. So, we've got you here, and, definitely, operations is sort of where the rubber meets the road. And some things you can, not necessarily do a great job with at the time, but, your operations drives, touches your customers. And if you don't do a great job for your customers, they're not going to come back. But even worse, they may spread their discontent with what you did that can even hurt your business worse. So, so definitely, that's critical. So now, there's several things that you can do to optimize your business. And before AI, even before AI, and what are those things? And then we'll talk about how AI has made it easier to do those, or allows you to do other things that people didn't even do before. So, so first, let's just start with, what are the key things in operations that you're going to want to optimize?
Okay, so some of the things that in your business that you want to optimize are the processes within your business. What are the things that your employees are doing repetitively that has to be done? What are the industry standards? Because me and my wife, we've worked with different businesses in our advisory and coaching firm. And so every niche has a different path, right? So it depends on what that niche is, but the goal is, again, all these businesses, they have their own processes. So understand what they are, understand how to actually move them forward, not just by identifying the gaps. You have to look at the gaps as far as what's missing. Where's the disconnect between the employees, the customers, the owners? When I say they're missing or they're losing money, they're leaking money, it's usually because they are not having things efficient. They're either ordering too much as far as inventory, depending on if it's a product-based business. If it's a service-based business, it's about touching the customer and connecting with them, staying in contact with them. So it kind of depends on what we're talking about and who we're talking about. Inventory for products, you can have a lot of inventory and not a lot of exports going out. You can be under ordering, which means that you don't have enough products and services or products and goods for the clients you're serving. It could be taxes, your finances. Finances aren't operational, but they do play a part, because if you don't have that piece together, you can't support the operations of the business as well. So there are different ways that you can identify gaps. It just depends on what type of business you're in first. And then following up that, just like I said, I have AI. So I utilize that to kind of identify what the industry standards are, what is supposed to be happening in those businesses. And then again, working with business owners that are accountable, and business owners that understand that they can be coached, and implementing the work once they identify that what we're suggesting is going to work with their business and support their business. So it depends, Andrew, but that's how I've operated in this space.
Okay, and that's a great point. Operations and operational optimization is different for every business, every industry. And so one thing is you have to come in with a unique approach. And the other thing is, I created the Masterpreneur Journey, which outlines the 5 steps from startup to scaling. I'll just pull that up real quick and talk to a couple things there. So in business, you're going from working on the concept of your business, to working in your business, to working on your business, to working on the future of your business, to scaling your business. But most businesses get stuck between step 2 and 3, working in your business and working on your business.
Yeah.
And a big piece of that is you have to go from being an employee supervisor to a manager, which takes different skills. And one of the skills is analysis. And you can't optimize anything without analyzing it and measuring it. So, if you're going to scale, before you scale, you need to optimize your business, whether it's you personally or you bringing in support to do that. So, definitely, AI has made it easier to do some of the things that you mentioned that are part of, optimizing your operations. So how has AI made it easier to be able to do some of those things?
Well, I think AI, what it's done to make it a lot easier is to identify what are the things that you're doing that has you working in your business as opposed to working on your business. So I think with any business owner, the first thing to do is identify and be aware. Awareness is the biggest component of any business success, is that you have to understand, again, what are those things? How can you understand your business well enough to not just be an employee, but be a manager? And if you're not aware of certain things, you can't do them. So I think that AI helps with the awareness of understanding what you need to do in your business as far as what needs to work within it. Because again, when you start your business, you're wearing all the hats. And so you get familiar with doing the management, doing the marketing, doing the operations. The tough part is becoming that leader, the person that's going to delegate. And delegation is hard for a lot of business owners to transition into. So I think that in the beginning, you have to hire some people for the job, right? And that's a task in itself, hiring the right people for your job. The second thing is some business owners do not need to be the CEO of their business. They just need to be the face and the creator of what they brought to fruition. So that's a thing. So you have to kind of identify the person that is the business, the CEO, identify what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then suggest what they can do, what the possibilities are, and what the upside is for those business owners. Again, it's tough. It's multifaceted. There's not one question to answer all of them. But again, we deal with them on a case-by-case basis. We think businesses are like human beings and snowflakes. They're all different. No two businesses are the same. They all have different issues and problems. Some have the similar problems or issues, but there are different ways to approach them depending on that business and business owner. So that's what I would say as far as that's concerned, Andrew.
Okay, great. So now, definitely, when you're doing processes and procedures, most entrepreneurs I read have ADD and, are usually all over the place. So to write process and procedures, it can be a tedious process that requires a lot of focus.
Yes.
I think that's part of the reason why most business owners don't accomplish that on their own. But AI has created tools to make it easier. What are some of the tools and ways you can use AI to make it a lot easier to develop your processes and procedures?
For me, I use people use any type of AI agentic. I use Claude for creating programs and things. I would use Base 44. But what I do, again, like I said, is we find out what these niches are. We identify the industry standard on how they work. And then we create an SOP that's similar to what they have. There may be, again, some things missing, and we add those things. What the difference is by utilizing AI and creating these SOPs is that you have to implement them. Some business owners, they have SOPs for their business and they're not following up with them, which is a case of not great management or being a supervisor. So you kind of have to identify the things that are working for the business, and you have to make sure that you are on top of it to make it as efficient as possible. There are a lot of ways you can lose money in a business, and you don't want the operations to be one. Finances, I said, me and my wife, I do operations. My wife focuses on finances and taxes, and we find in both of these areas, there are a lot of gaps. And so I just think that using AI helps you identify those gaps. You can identify all of them, but if you're not implementing them, that's the biggest loss for most businesses. And it could be just a lack of motivation. It could be the employee that you hired. It could be not being a great leader and motivating the employees to do the certain work that you need them to do. So you kind of have to find out what's missing on top of having the things that they said, would help your business be supported. I believe you told me something, Andrew, that most consultants or advisors, they do not deliver on some of the promises that they say they can deliver. And I steer away from that. My goal is that if we cannot deliver a service or a deliverable, that we will say we can't do it, and we will either suggest you to someone else within our network or someone that we believe can do that job. But all business is in good business, and you have to understand your limits. You have to understand the people that you can work with. And again, make sure that they are accountable and that they can do the work and that they will follow through with things that you suggest, because most business owners, they pay an exorbitant amount of money to have these things happen. And they are supposed to benefit the business. And if they are not benefiting the business, that's just not good business for me. So.
Okay, great. So now, you've worked with businesses on doing that. What's the first step? What's the first step in optimizing your operations?
So the first step for us is, like I said, as a business physician, the first thing we do is we ask questions. We kind of figure out what you're doing now and identify where you're having issues, where you're having the problems, what's keeping you up at night in this space in your business, this vertical. And once we ask the questions, then we actually have them take an assessment. And the assessment gives us more data on what we need to understand about them and the business and the employees that they have working for them. And from that point, we again go back and forth with AI. We take some of our experience that we've learned by working with other business owners, and we create a process. And once we create that process, We bring it to the business owner. We talk about how it should be implemented, what the benefits are of the implementation. And again, these things are all just suggestions that through our experience, we've seen benefits. The business owners that we've worked with have seen the benefits. It just depends on whether they have the foresight to say, okay, this is what I hired you for. I want you to implement this thing into my business. Let's see what happens. The goal is to get the business owner an early win with the things that we're doing and implementing. And with that, build trust and again, work diligently with them to actually help them create a more successful and more profitable business.
Okay, great. So now you when you're working in optimizing things, we mentioned that you need to measure things, and what I found, you probably found as well, many times business owners don't have timely, accurate data to measure from.
Yep.
So sometimes it's critical before you can really optimize it to really find out how to get timely, accurate information on the key drivers of their business. So, give an example of, a business you've gone into and they needed data, and how you were able to resolve that and help them, access the data that they needed, get access to the data they needed to optimize their business.
Okay. So for an example, I'll talk about a business owner we're working with kind of now. They have a process for how they operate their business. I'm not going to say what type of business, but they have a process for how they operate their business. And they did have some data for it. What we kind of stepped in with was to just actually see what was going on within the business. We had to actually go out there and see what was happening. And again, ask the questions and find out where they needed some support at. Operations was a piece of it. It wasn't a large piece of it. Again, with operations, if you have the first piece of your business established, which is the finance piece, which again, my wife, I keep going back to that because we need that underlying set of skills and that business mindset set up before we go into operations, and understand again, what are they doing today? We can get KPIs by understanding what the industry is doing by itself. So we kind of identify what the industry standards are, and then we match it with what they're doing and find out this one, they had a certain lead time of bringing in inventory, working on the inventory, working with manufacturers to get parts and pieces to actually build the product. And then they had to return the product to the customer or client. Usually there was a window of 5 days. That's an optimal time for the customer and client to work with this business owner to get the product, do the work, and then return it back to the customer. And sometimes it was all over the place. There wasn't any consistency. So that was an automatic trigger of what's going wrong with this business. You need some consistency. You need everyone to be on the same page. Everything that was going on within the business was going through the owner, and that should not be. The owner should be kind of overseeing and having a one-on-one conversation with the management. And they were the manager. They were still wearing most of the hats, even though they have a few employees. So I think the goal is to try to, again, separate them from being the decision maker, the head of everything, and slowly but surely pull them away and separate them, show them what needs to be done, and also talk about hiring someone that can actually do what they're doing so they can focus on growing, networking, and building the business outside of that space. Because if you don't get outside of your area, outside of your day in and day out, and you're managing all the time, you'll never get to meet the people and grow the community or grow the business the way you really could. Because once you have a manager in place and you have a system in place, you can multiply and duplicate that business anywhere else you go. So the goal is to make sure that it is repeatable, make sure that you have a way to have a communication with the manager or supervisor of that business so that you know how to see what's going wrong, what's missing, and how to fix that on a macro level for you, but a micro level for them. And then just repeat that at another business if you plan on expanding and scaling. So I think that's one of the things you should be doing.
Okay, makes sense. And with what you're doing, one of the questions from the audience, and a great question, is how should companies prepare their teams or their employees before introducing AI? And not just that, how do you prepare the owner? Because many times the owner has limited exposure to AI as well. So, technology transfer and getting people to adopt technology can be a challenge. So how do you handle that?
So I handle it this way. A lot of people are saying that AI is going to take your job. I don't believe that is the case. For me, AI is just making me more efficient in my job. You do see a lot of Fortune 500 companies cutting employees. It's for a few reasons. It's because AI is doing some of the repetitive tasks that business owners have employees doing today. And so instead of having 10 and 30 employees, they only need a third of those employees because they get the employees that are willing to utilize the AI, and they can do 3 times the work. And as a business owner, you are looking for a bottom line, profits. And again, you want the company to grow and succeed. I think Mr. Tracy, he said something that you can keep hiring people as long as what they do is paying for themselves and they make a little profit on top of them. So for the people that you're hiring, if they're paying for themselves and making profit, you can keep hiring people. With AI, it's going to make it easier to be more profitable because you'll be able to do more work with one person who's capable in using AI, and especially for a business. And to me, that brings more value to the business. So don't be scared about introducing AI, but as a business owner, you are going to have to make some tough decisions, because if you are getting more efficiency from one person than 3 people, the decision should be clear that you don't need all of those people outside of, I don't want to say that we're just getting rid of people, but what you do have to do is you have to make sure that the business survives, and you want to make sure that the business scales. And now is the best time to actually understand AI, start working with AI, because in 3 to 5 years, just how people weren't adapted to the computer and the internet and adapted to these things, slowly but surely, this will become a commonplace in business, where you will only have one person managing the operations, and you will have 1 or 2 employees doing the work. One of my mentors, Myron Golden, said there are 4 levels of value. And the first level is implementation. Those are the people that are doing the work, the laborers. Most of those people will be one-off individuals, and they'll be utilizing AI, which will be like one person doing the work of 3 to 4 people. Following that, we have the people who are doing the unification. Those are the managers. There will be fewer managers, but we still need a personal connect, I feel, in order to keep that connection, to keep people employed, and to create a business where everyone feels valued. But utilizing AI, you are more valuable. Then we got the communication level and the imagination level. And I just think that if you are not utilizing AI today, your business will slowly be out of business soon. We've seen a lot of businesses that are operating without AI, and the kids today, they are so well versed in it that they are going to actually help your business. So any business owner that has been in business for 5 to 10 years, look into these young people that are coming out of college, out of high school, that understand how to outreach to customers and clients, how to utilize your email more effectively and more efficiently. And just those things right there, they're going to cut down on people doing admin work. And it's, again, at the end of the day, it's going to be much more efficient and effective for your business.
Okay, great. So now, one of the big challenges I've found for a lot of business owners that really hurts their operations is they generally don't do a good job of hiring. So now, how can AI help to optimize your hires? Because at the end of the day, your team is going to drive your efficiency. And if you lose team members, that could be a significant cost to that. So, how do you use AI to be able to help people be able to hire better?
Okay, to hire better, that's a tough one. Hiring is one of the hardest pieces to building a business, from my perspective, as far as bringing people in, because you have to vet people. You have to look at their history. I say basically, I'm not sure if AI is really going to help you hire those people per se. I think that that's a personal thing. You have to kind of have a one-on-one. You have to see if the employee that you plan on hiring, if they align with the goals of you and what you have for the business. Nowadays, outside of utilizing AI as a new employee, I think how they utilize AI and how effective they are for supporting you in your business, I think that's really going to be the telltale sign. I don't think AI can really help you hire, from my perspective. I don't use it, and I wouldn't use it for hiring. I think that something that you do, Andrew, is something that I would utilize to hire people, and that's taking what is that the Myers-Briggs test.
Yeah.
Something like that would be kind of good to just have an idea of who the person is, for one, and kind of identify if you guys are compatible in that space. But AI, identifying who's going to work for me and who's not, I don't think we've gotten there yet.
Okay, well, definitely assessment is very important to make, to help match up the right person with the right role. But I think a lot of hires are unsuccessful because the business owner didn't set up the hire to be successful within their organization.
Yep.
So what does that look like? They might not have a job description or not a real detailed, accurate job description. So I think AI can probably help you do a better job with that.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's not an onboarding process. So, creating an onboarding process rather than just bringing people on and saying, okay, you're here, let's get to work.
You say the same thing. Yeah. You don't have a process. If I have to tell you how to do your job and you're relying on the conversation and not documentation, that's the number one problem. We start right there. So have something documented and have someone that is a supervisor or manager that can follow up and make sure that you are following the procedure the right way, that you are doing the best that you can. And again, when you have documentation, you can follow up and you can make sure that the things are happening the way they're supposed to happen. And after a while, it becomes habit. So I think that's the more clear-cut way to actually hire someone, is to have that documentation, the SOPs, the expectations, and then from there, it becomes repetitive and almost second nature for the employees.
Yeah, and just, I think a big piece of it is just pulling the knowledge out of the business owner's head. Because a lot of times they have the knowledge, but they don't communicate it to the people who need more of that knowledge, for one reason or another. But at the end of the day, it hurts them and their business, and it makes it difficult for the employees to be successful.
Yep.
Most employees don't want to do a bad job. They want to do a good job.
Exactly.
You got to set them up for success so they can do a good job for you. And you need to tell them what a good job is or looks like, because a lot of people are at their job and don't really know what's expected of them. So
yes, indeed. Yeah,
So-
and I think that they do need that. Again, it's reinforcement of just the policies, the culture, and people need those things. And without those things, they are kind of lost. Some people are not really appreciating the jobs because they don't have those things, the culture and things of that nature. So I think that helps build camaraderie. It helps build somewhat of a family environment. Most people who are working, they spend more time at their business than they do with their family. So you want to make sure that it is a good space for people, and you want to make sure it's a good environment, and you want to do the best for them as well as you want them to do the best for you. So you have to create that rapport so that everyone feels appreciated. And with appreciation, everyone does their best. And that's what you want to get out of the employees that you hire.
Okay, excellent. So, definitely, one thing about AI is, you don't use AI for AI's sake. You should use AI to address things that you're already doing or that you need to do or want to do. So, there's different AI tools. Where do you recommend people start?
Well, for what people are looking to do within their business, I think they should identify what they feel they need support with. And you can do that by talking to your AI, telling them what your processes are today, and have the AI identify, say, AI, ask me 10 questions that help me streamline or create SOPs or make sure that my finances are in a certain space. Ask me these questions one by one, and at the end, give me your report. So ask the AI what you don't know. Ask it to ask you questions about whatever business you're in, and ask it to ask you concise questions that actually pull the data from you and create something for you. And I think that's the best way to actually use it. You can ask it to work with you. Some of us don't know exactly what that thing is. Ask the AI to ask you the questions. Today, I'm still learning with AI. I try to stay on the cusp of what's going on in the AI space. And it's a continuous learning process. I don't think I'm going to stop learning at all, especially with AI, but in other facets of my life. And that's just a part of growing and making sure that you are becoming as valuable as you need to be for the people that you plan on working for and serving. So that's kind of what I think you should do if you're looking for some support with AI. Ask it the questions that you're looking to have answered. Ask it to ask you the questions so it can be more concise with the answer it gives you, and see what it spits out.
Great point. I mean, AI can help you do a better job with AI. So
I'm doing that every day. Trust me. There are things that I'm missing, and I always ask, hey, what should I do in this situation? And it gives me some ideas, and then I take it from there.
Right. And another key thing is sort of interrogating the AI.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you an answer doesn't mean that's the final answer. You
Exactly.
can say, well, enhance this answer, or what if this, or redo it based on this additional information.
Yep.
Or rate on a scale of 1 to 10, what your recommendation is and how can we make it better.
Yep.
Definitely using AI as your thought partner and helping you develop messaging, but it still has to reflect you and what you are trying to do and what your business is all about. So, so definitely, those are key things as well. We've got a lot of great comments. A few questions. Let's see. There was one or two that I wanted to at least bring up so that we can cover it. But, one of the things, definitely we talked a little bit about employees becoming more comfortable with AI tools. How do you recommend employees use or interact with AI?
Well, first you should see if AI can be applied to what your employee is doing. That's the first thing. So it depends. If you're working with your hands, you're working in construction, I'm not sure how AI is going to help you with that. But if you're in tech, or if you're in a service-based business, how would they become comfortable with it? I'm not sure, because AI is like anything, any new technology. You have to learn what it is about first. You have to get comfortable with it. You have to study it. You have to learn it. So you have to take your time with it. I think one way how you can get them comfortable with it is have programs or have curriculum and educate the employees, whether there's an outside group that can educate your employees on how to utilize AI more efficiently. You can do that. I think that can support your employees by getting a professional that's already well-versed in AI and show them how they can apply AI to the business that they are working in. That's one of the ways. And again, those ways are tax deductible. Okay, I like to tell people those things, that these things that you are doing to help and support your business, as far as education and promoting what's going on in your business, they are tax deductible, and you should utilize that to support your business, especially if you're making a substantial amount of money in your business. You want to see that grow. You want to see where there are any hidden dollars and opportunities and or credits that can support you with educating your people and investing in your people. So I think investing in your employees is, I guess, the best way to do it. As a CEO, you're not going to take on that responsibility. But yeah, there you go. Microsoft, Agentic AI, Anthropic, Google, Gemini, they all have their own programs where you can learn through them one-on-one. But I think as a business owner that's generating a nice amount of income, I think that bringing someone in to kind of streamline and give you a shortcut on learning what they need to learn in their business and about their particular space or what they're doing, I think that would be the best way to help empower your employees with AI.
Okay, excellent. So now, 60 minutes is just not enough time to cover everything that we'd like to cover, but we have covered some valuable things for business owners. And one thing I like to do is ask the guests to share 3 key takeaways. Talking about this stuff is great, but if people don't take away actionable items that they can start utilizing and benefiting from tomorrow, then we're not really doing them a full service. So it'd be great if you could share 3 key takeaways for tonight's show. I'll play a video real quick so that will give you a little bit of time to jot some things down, and then we'll come back talking small business. So here's a little bit. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. That's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbprou.com/99-tips. All right, good evening. I'm here with Corey Wilson. We're talking about AI for operational optimization. We've covered a lot of valuable information, but Corey, what are the 3 things people should take away from what we discussed tonight?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is that AI is not here to replace us. It's here to empower and enhance us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you should utilize professionals that are using AI today to help invest into your business, into your people. You're going to need that for growth. And again, they help give you a shortcut to professional growth in your business. And the final thing I would say is to, as a CEO, ask AI questions to make you more efficient and effective as a CEO. So I think those would be the 3 things, the 3 takeaways I would have for this conversation today.
Okay, excellent. So we're talking about number 1, really using AI to empower and enhance what you're doing.
Yep.
Number 2, getting help from professionals, the right people. Looking for professionals can always be a challenge, but you need somebody who understands AI, but also understands business so that they can utilize it effectively for you. And finally, you have to develop a proficiency in AI so that you can understand really how it works and utilize it for yourself as a thought partner, and also use it to help you get the help that you need in the areas that you need help. So no, this has been great, Corey. Definitely, I'm sure people got a lot out of this session. Before we close out, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, just sharing that, we work with business owners day in and day out, and our goal is, again, to help them create more healthier and stronger businesses and also educate them along the way. My wife and I, we are starting a podcast similar to you, Andrew. Thank you for the inspiration. And our goal is to create this podcast, not just for us and to support entrepreneurs, but it's to also get visibility and to have basically a 24-hour advertisement of what we do and who we are to the world and to the entrepreneurs we serve. So that's about it right now. Again, we've pivoted many times since we started this journey 3 years ago, but I think we are really refining exactly who we're serving, how we can serve them, and really broadening our horizon as far as how we plan on moving forward from this point forward. And again, thank you, Andrew, for being one of our mentors that supported us in our journey and have gotten us to where we are today. We would not be who we are without your support and help, and we thank you for that.
Okay, no, great. Definitely, it's been great to see how you're developing yourselves and your businesses and helping more business owners. We've got your LinkedIn profile in the chat, so people are welcome to connect with you, reach out to you to discuss further. As well, we've got your website in the chat so people can learn a little bit more about what you do. So definitely, feel free to reach out to Corey and you can learn even more. Definitely appreciate everybody's comments. What's up there, Jimmy?
Hey, Jimmy.
Of course, Nikisha.
My better half.
Great session, but I would expect nothing less. You guys know each other pretty well. Thanks, Darren, for your feedback as well. And, we're going to get ready to close out the night. So, Corey, if you can hang on for a minute, I'm getting ready to close out the show and we'll go from there. So, everybody, definitely appreciate you tuning in, appreciate your comments, your questions, and thanks just for continuing to participate. And, I think that means that you're getting valuable insights out of it. And that's really what the show is all about. So any feedback that you can provide is welcome. And we look forward to continuing to make Leadership Live at 805 better and better and more valuable for you. So as you know, each week we have a different guest and we have a different topic. And then next week, what we're going to be talking about is what it really takes to be a franchisor with Brad Coleman. And, I think that's going to be a really exciting session. Actually, Brad was a race car driver and for NASCAR and took that experience into creating a business. And then not only creating a business, but then creating a franchise around that business. And I think that this is critical for every business owner. If you've read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which is really the ultimate small business book, one of the things he says is every business should be run like a franchise. So, learning and understanding more about how a franchise works, and also learning about, if you want to franchise your business, what does that look like and how does it work? So hopefully you can join us next week and look forward to having a great conversation once again on Leadership Live at 805, talking small business. So at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.